Well, would you look at that? It's 2:01 by my clock. And we're ready for a fresh edition of ThursdAGE, which is your mainly weekly program designed to plug you into all things Age, which is the adventure game engine. And, excuse me, getting all choked up. I love this topic. But it also is hosted by me, your disembodied host, Troy, and I'm flying solo today. So, it's one of those things. Let me turn off this future pop because it's killing me. As you sidle into the chat, say how did do, and would love to hear where you're from, or if you've got questions about the Age Creators Alliance, which is our topic today. So the Age Creators Alliance is a program. Hey, Brian, if ever I owe you an email, my friend. Solo Troy, that's right, John. Yeah. People were just busy, and I was like, you know what? We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it live. Hydrara, good to see you, friend. And so the Age Creators Alliance is our program that allows third-party folks. We call them third-party publishers because once you publish, you're a publisher. Like, that's what it takes. You do the publishing, then you are called a publisher. You get a whole party. They give you a little amulet, and it's a lot of fun. Oh, shoot. I'm sorry to hear that you're sick, Brian. Brian and I are talking about the fact that we've got to set up an interview with our good friend and, one of the stars of this program, Malcolm Shepard. And we're going to take care of that here shortly. But it's good to see you in any case. So here's what's going on. We launched the Age Creators Alliance, I want to say, 3 years ago, maybe? It could be longer, actually. But the idea was, our friends over at Drive Through RPG, and they really are phenomenal people. We really enjoy them as humans, and of course, the being able to sell our PDFs and to run this community content program through their site. It helps keep food on the table. But it also is a really great opportunity for people who are interested in publishing. Now, I wanted to get a sense of the folks who are listening. How many of you in the audience right now are people who have published, and how many of you are thinking about publishing? And if not, why not? And just let me know in the chat. And then if you've got questions, of course, drop them in there, and I'll do my level best to either ignore them, lie about it, or find someone with a better answer, which is probably the better way to do it. Okay, so the Age Creators Alliance, I'm going to hold on one second, and I'm going to drop a link in chat. If you're listening to this on demand, you're going to want to check out the links. Hey, Sidra, I was thinking about some stuff. Jahan said, I'd love to get something up. Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Duke's here. Good to see you, Duke. Duke, I forget where you're coming from. Where is your world? Are you in Canada? Is that right? Why do I feel like you're Canadian for some reason? I mean, not as a pejorative, but yes, Brian's published something that I'm not going to try to pronounce because I'm a dummy. But the hold on one second. I'm going to share my screen so that you may see what I see. But yeah, so the Age Creators Alliance, that is way too long. 1 second. There, that'll look better. Yeah, about 3 years ago, I think. That's give or take a year, probably. And it is essentially allows you, that's way too long, isn't it? To publish content that is compatible with Age, the adventure game engine. And over the course of the 3 years, we've been talking to folks, and we've been sort of sorting out exactly what are some of the changes. And we did this well ahead of any of the shenanigans going on with a certain set of wizards at the beach or whatever. And let's see what to be saying here. Oh, yeah. Jason Sunday considered publishing something as well. Juan says, would adventuring journals and other such items fall under this category? So, yeah, it would. And now we would need to kind of talk a little bit about what an adventure journal is sort of defined as. The good news is the updates to the adventure game or to the Age Creators Alliance, it loosens up some of the restrictions and gives you a little bit more to play with. And those are important sort of changes and shifts to kind of allow the program to thrive. But in addition, we're going to be doing some stuff. One of the things that I want to do, I'm going to drop a link. If you are somebody who has essentially what I'd like to do is sit down and have a conversation via Zoom, and also if folks aren't able to come to or come to a Zoom meeting with the team, that you provide some feedback with an early look at the rules and how they have changed, and with some language that sort of helps clarify what we did to improve and change the program, and what your thoughts are, and to see if we've if we hit the mark, if we're off the mark. I was going to call it, hey Stan. That is true. Almost all, yeah. If you're all ears, you're, yeah, pretty much. Unless you're, if you're one big ear as a body, I think it just becomes your body, and that's all you. So yeah. Hmm. Interesting. A conundrum to say the least. But yeah, so the Age Creators Alliance is improving, and before we roll stuff out publicly, codifying it, we want to get folks feedback and make sure that we're not off the mark, or that there aren't some unforeseen typos and other things, and we're looking forward to that. But the Age Creators Alliance, let's see here. We've got the newest titles. Here we go, right here. Who did this one? Let's take a looky. C. Doyle. That's great. Okay, for Fantasy Age, this is wonderful. I'm just seeing this now. One of the other things that we're going to be doing with the Age Creators Alliance is we are going to support um, some more marketing and have folks who are creating content stop by the show and hang out with us and talk to us about what it is that they've created. Some great stuff here. We have had creators on in the past, a creator in the past, and we look forward to kind of expanding that. My question for folks who are listening to this for the first time and kind of maybe just wrapping your mind around what all of that means, I'm really curious, especially if there's anybody listening. What are some concerns that you got, or is it just because of the kind of monumental endeavor? It's a big commitment to put something like that together, and it takes a lot of time and energy. The good news is, we're not asking you to do this for free. You are able to publish under the license, and then you get the lion's share of the profit. So that is, yeah. John mentions that they have trouble understanding OGLs in general. It is a little confusing, circuitous, and sometimes that information is shared without any of the context, as far as like, this is in here because we want to avoid this, or this language is worded this way to protect us from this, and or to protect creators from violating copyright or trademark. And there are a lot of different reasons for language to, and honestly, I do believe that we spend a lot of time overcomplicating legal language in an effort to you made it, Derek, good to see you. We overcomplicate the legal language to make it daunting, to make it at all at once vast and so nebulous that it really could cover all contingencies. And that's a real uh I don't like that. I do like, there have been shifts, and as we look at sort of changes in policies around privacy, that plain language is mandated, and it's not defined super well as to what plain language should look like. I will say that for us, we want you to be able to understand what the Age Creators Alliance is about, why the rules are as they're written, and then also just sort of look at things that might not be really tenable and interrogate that a little bit. Creating the content for a published TTRPG or a supplement that is in support or that is connected with an age with one of our age products is it's daunting. The one of the I think Chris mentioned this. If not, then I'll kind of um, and it's an exclusive for you from me. But it's the we have upped the threshold for how much content you can reintegrate into a resource, and it's I don't want to lie about this, but I think that it has increased dramatically. I'll say that much. There are some folks who were a little disappointed in how strict that was, and we listened. And it is going to be it is a number that I know that some people will really enjoy, and other people will just go, I don't quite understand that, and that's why we'll have our meeting. My question for folks who are listening now, if you are listening on demand, drop a note to let's play at greenronin.com and say, I'm interested. And I will send you a form that will give you, that way you can sign up and kind of let us know a little bit about your thoughts and what kind of stuff you'd like to create. Or even if you just got questions, coming and hanging out with us does not obligate you. This isn't a timeshare. You're able to come and listen to the information, ask all the dumb questions, and get to a space where, at the very least, you can speak to it with accuracy and feel like you really understand what's going on. And that's the whole goal behind that. Folks may not know we have 3 different community content programs. I'll say third-party publishing opportunities across our titles. When I'm talking about the Age Creators Alliance, I'm talking about the Adventure Game Engine, and that right now covers Fantasy Age and Modern Age, but we are adding to that Cthulhu Awakens and Blue Rose. So those are 2 titles that will be now. They won't come at the same time. Cthulhu Awakens has not hit press yet, but it's in the works. And when that launches, it will launch with the community content program um, intact and ready to go. Um, and that's exciting. And I know that people have been asking about Blue Rose. There are a lot of folks who are just a big fan of that content, and um, it's high time that we connected it, and we'll be doing that at the same time we roll the official uh, license update. And so that's all coming together. I'll tell you what's going on behind the scenes right now. The only thing that's kind of giving us a pause before just running headlong into the void is the we want to we're creating the templates for folks, because one of the things that's great about what we offer is that when creating your content, you'll get a layout. You'll get a PDF that shows you exactly the trade dress, all the things that you need to incorporate, and how big the logo and all that stuff is, and all those little tiny details that are critical and governed by the license are there for you. And we also have. I'm going to drop this in, not Slack. Sorry, I'm going to drop this in the chat because all of us hang out together in Slack. Let's do that. This is the FAQ for the Age Creators Alliance. Talks about all the details. Now, this is currently the old rules. They'll be updated, and but you can kind of get a sense. And I would say, if you're somebody who wants to participate in upcoming discussions, I'd go check out the templates and get at least take a cursory glance, even if it's just a moment right now, just to kind of scroll through it and say, "Oh, I see," and start to kind of check out some of the legal stuff. The templates really help keep everything bounded. I love that. Stan says Cthulhu Awakens. That's tentacular. It really is. And let me see. We've got some comments, I think. One question, if this is from Hydrara, one question, if you wanted to physically publish a third-party product on, say, a Kickstarter, does the updated language have stipulations about that? That's a really good question, and no, it does not. It is not. This is all designed and to be governed and managed through our partners at DriveThruRPG. I think that if there was a hope or a dream to do some kind of a Kickstarter, we would need to have a different kind of a license. And it kind of steps outside of the community content stuff. Now, I I'm pretty sure I'm right on that, but that's a great question to kind of hang on to, and ask, and I'll bring that back to the team as well. But those are exactly the kind of questions that we want to kind of unearth to make sure everyone knows what's going on. Derek asks, can the templates work with programs other than InDesign? I've been working on a setting for the ACA, but I've not yet touched. Oh yeah, yes, they will work. I actually believe, if I'm recalling, we have some people who use kind of alternative outside of the Adobe um, product line, which there are definitely days where I wish I was outside of the Adobe product line. Um, but um, but yeah, so yeah, absolutely. And GM Jones just says, missed any news? We're just talking Age Creators Alliance. Um, and let's see. Yeah, absolutely. Derek says, as a hobbyist, I really don't have Adobe Suite money, right? Yeah, exactly. But I do know that they are workable, and we did work with some folks who had a alternative PDF creator program and all that stuff, and it'll be interesting because we do want to work a little closer with people who, as they're creating this stuff, to make sure they have their resources. One of the things that we want to do as well is to build up the connections between folks who are artists, and because I'll say one of the most important pieces, but one of the most challenging and sort of fraught with legal and copyright or trademark infringement issues is art. It's really difficult to. I mean, unless you are a writer and an artist and a graphic designer and a layout, in some cases you may have to act, as all of those things, even concurrently, but there's a lot more I think we can do to sort of connect people who want to do some art, or even source people that you may know that are doing art. There are people who are also providing services like layout and all of that stuff, and maybe that's not your bag, and that's okay. There are people where they, for a small fee, will take care of that for you, depending on how much layout you need, because then it may be a large fee. I don't know, but I do know those people are out there for sure, and let's see. Okay, okay. Affinity Publisher is great for. Okay, Affinity Publisher. That's interesting. One of the things too that we'd like to include in the frequently asked questions, outside of just the legal stuff, but some links to assets like Affinity Publisher, other alternatives, because you're absolutely right. It is quite expensive. And that, for to try to incorporate Adobe products into your life, and that's just on the college degree that you need to sort of sort out what their tools do in the first place. Let's see. Brian's asking, yeah, I have my fingers crossed for a template that works in Affinity. And yeah, I'm going to bring that back. I've made a note to ask about the ability, because I am, I should know this, but I don't. Do the current templates not work with Affinity? Brian, let me know about that. But back to our programs. We have, as I said, we've got two other third-party publishing programs, or programs that support third-party publishing, and that is powered. Hold on one second. It's the powered by M&M. That allows folks to hang on one second. It's just hard to do this when you're all by yourself. You don't have somebody else to talk while you flounder in the background. Um, the community content programs are the Super Powered by M&M, thank you, and the Chronicle System Guild for Drive Through RPG, and of course the Age Creators Alliance. Now, they deal with some wrestling, but not easily. Okay, interesting, Brian. I would love to hear more about that. I would. Thanks, Dan. Stan says, you're doing great, kid. You're a natural. So with the Age Creators Alliance stuff, we've also got the Oracle licenses is crawling in, and we've got a lot of licenses to sort of make sense of. And I know a lot of people have been like wondering sort of how all that was going to work, and to be perfectly honest, outside of these changes that we are making to the Age Creators Alliance, these improvements that we're making, those were set on course well before any of the OGL stuff played out. It was something that we put together. It was we wanted to make those improvements, and like all things, there's a line of projects sort of waiting for us to sort of get one done and do the next, and this one just kind of popped up at the same kind of window as the OGL stuff, not intended, and certainly not meant to be like our commentary on things, but if it works for you, it works for us. But yeah, so the Superpowered by Eminem is the third-party license that lets you publish stuff for Mutants and Masterminds, and then the Chronicle System Guild is Song of Ice and Fire created or turned into Chronicle System, and you can create your feudal fantasy content in that program. Let's see. As far as I know, InDesign's IDML formatted files can be loaded into Affinity directly, but the default oh yes, that is true. That is true. That and I do believe. I'm not sure who it was. It could have been one of you, but I think that this is the rabbit hole that we went down in talking about how to make things a little bit easier for people who want to publish stuff, but don't want to require a full uh, graphic design office and all of that stuff, but still be able to put something together that's attractive, and that's really what our templates let you do. Now, I'm curious, when you're thinking about publishing or the things that you're kind of working on, I know that was that our friend? Was it Juan? Let me check. Who was asking the question about creating like an adventure journal? Here we go. Yeah, Juan, it was you. The adventure journal, such as custom notebooks for players to keep track of items, character sheets, etc. That's very interesting, and if it's a pad of paper, we'll want to. I think that it will require some discussion, but when thinking about the kind of content that you're pondering or that you're working on now, what are you thinking? Are you creating? I know some folks have really created some great stuff, and whole sort of worlds and supplements, and they're great. Like I think of Rain's. Sorry, get there. Where we go. Rain's Fatayath Adventures, which are great. Let me see if I can get a little more screen real estate here without losing the. Oh, that's pretty sad. Sorry for the visibility on that, but um, there we go. I'll make it a little bigger. Um, but yeah, I'm curious for folks, in chat, what it is that you're thinking about. Very interesting. I like, Drive Through RPG does a great job, sort of letting you kind of see the products in the way that they'll land. Whether it's what's the hottest Age Creators Alliance titles and what are the newest things cooking, and I'm personally very excited to see what it is that people will want to create. And so I think one of the things that'll be important for folks who want to join us and have that discussion is to come with a bit of an understanding of what it is you'd like to do, and for us to find out how we can either make that work or crush your dreams entirely. No, I'm kidding. To find ways that it will work, or to really just be very clear what the expectations are, so that way nobody's caught. Maybe you've been working on a Age Creators Alliance project, and I know some people are, and then we certainly don't want you to find out in mid create that it's not going to work. And so, yeah, that will be. I think what I'm going to do is go. I had my. I've got a form that I can share with folks, and you can fill it out. You can find that link in chat as soon as I find it, and what that'll do is just signal to me that you're wanting to get in on all the fun. And yeah, let's see. Jason Sunday says, thinking about what I buy for other game system, for me, it's monster books, character options, and adventures. Yeah, absolutely. And I don't see as much now. I'm kind of with Juan in there. I feel like I love like sort of pads and paper products and stuff that kind of support that can be sort of assembled for tabletop role play, or to support the GM and the team and all that stuff, or the team around the table, the players. But I just don't see as much cool stuff like that. Um, I've seen some journals and things that I get targeted for ads, like on Facebook, or just because I'm in the TTRPG space. But I'm not really seeing anything. Um, that is as useful as, say, like the GM's kit. That's great stuff, and people really, I mean, people very much enjoy the GM's kit. That's not on the list of things that that the Age Creators Alliance covers, but maybe there is some sort of game type resource, and to understand or to know, we would have to sit down and have that chat. Derek says, for my part, I'll say I've been writing setting material for quite a while. Yeah, but wasn't comfortable with releasing it under OGL. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It turned out to be a good call. Now I'm hoping the ACA is the right home for it because I love the system. Yeah, absolutely. And I know that we are talking just in general about what the OGL means, and then of course we're still all very interested in seeing what the next edition of their licensing and stuff means because people we like to create content um, for Wizards products. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see where that goes. We're all in the same. But yeah, player GM aids, and I we did a survey once with folks to ask them, frankly, like, what would you buy things like this? Should we have more T-shirts? Should we have like more? Would you buy exactly what you said, player GM aids, Duke, and it was enough people that it was a very interesting proposition that it would be useful for folks because that's what we're in the business of doing is kind of creating and selling useful things. So having a store full of paper stuff that people are like, why did you give me 5 free journals with my last order? We want to avoid that kind of stuff. So I'm thinking, so we've got right now, we are in the midst of heading into convention season. And rather than sort of try to wait and hover around, not sort of putting this on ice until we gamma trade shows coming up and all of the planning that goes on behind the scenes for the other trade shows that we're going to. So what I'm going to do is actually lean in, and if folks are, for instance, have a gathering somewhere where we can sit down and just sort of talk about this, um, at Gen Con for folks who are interested, and sort of make that kind of an event, an event in some public space where we can sit down and kind of have a chat and get face-to-face updates. There's nothing better, Zoom's all right, but sitting down and kind of looking at each other one-to-one and having that conversation is one of the most, you sure get things done quicker and with more joy for sure. Let's see. Derek says, "Oh, got that." Idra says, what about, say, like adventure paths with new monsters? Yeah, I mean that's in here. I mean we've already got some of that content has already been created, similar to that, and so very exciting stuff. And the other thing too is we really definitely want to make sure that you've got all the resources that you need to hit the ground running with something like Cthulhu Awakens. And I'm particularly excited about that just because I like the tone and sort of that genre. And I think the stuff that we're writing, creating for uh, Cthulhu Awakens is just gangbusters. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. People are going to really, truly enjoy it. But yeah, that we're offering that through the Age Creators Alliance means we probably have to do some work to get people up to speed on what that means. And there are we have a lot of friends in our line of business. We don't want to step on their toes, and so there's some considerations around just the Cthulhu mythos. So yeah, there's stuff like that. So let's see. Since let me get this straight. You want to make products that are useful for your audience? Yeah, I think so. I think it feels right. It feels like the right thing to do. But we're making them all out of asbestos. Brian says, I've some more positive apocalyptic adventures for the. Oh, I thought he said, why did I? We want some positive apocalyptic adventures. Just something with a fun twist. No, well, this is what Ryan says. I've some more post-apocalyptic adventures for the Age Creators Alliance set in my Pandora's wake. PA setting and a fantasy setting I'd like to release. Yeah, cool. Very cool. Duke says, I know that it's a tricky subject since the aids would have to sort of kind of recreate other products' language. And that's where it gets kind of, it's less dicey in the new license. I mean, it's not dicey is the wrong word. It can be a bit of a challenge to try to say, well, okay, what we're talking about is you can only sort of recreate X amount of X percentage of content pulled from other sources, official Green Ronin sources, and load it up into a PDF of your own. That would just be kind of weird. And back to that whole, why not make something useful? But 50% is what we've discussed as a change to that, and that's great. I mean, I think it's very generous, and it really sort of it's a much easier measure. If something's like 33%, how do you know how much of that? I mean, it's a lot. And what constitutes sort of reuse and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, all of those questions are important, but they're going to be a part of the deeper discussion, because even some of the questions that that you would expect us to go, oh yeah, that's what that means for sure. The reality is, um, there are lots of different ways to sort of keep people in compliance and to keep people from sort of stepping on any of our uh, copyrights and trademarks. But this program is meant to solve all that stuff and get you into publishing without having to, you know, be arrested for doing something horrible. Because we just throw people in jail, in the Green Running jail, if you break the law, the Green Ronin law. But it also, speaking of the Green Ronin law, it's not really Green Ronin law. It's the law of being a human being. There are aspects that we are covering, for instance, the AI stuff. And we are taking the same line as everybody else, that you can't just go to Chat GPT and say, "Hey, could you make me an age-based TTRPG supplement," and just take what it spits out and then ask, Chat GPT's cousin to art up something for you with one finger and a weird face. No, no, no. The rule is none. None of that. No AI assisted development. And I'm here for it. I mean, I'm not sure where folks are sitting. We don't really talk a lot about this as part of age stuff, because it just doesn't really apply. And I guess it does at this moment. The AI stuff it feels like we're rushing headlong into something that we haven't spent a lot of time talking about. The fact that AIs get real cranky and start to, they start to act really like nasty humans and when they engage with the humans at scale. Imagine that. But yeah, let's see. Duke says, please, I need two-fingered orcs. Um, yeah, well, so that's very interesting, Hydra, and that's a very good question. Um, while I We're gonna need to ask, and this is what Hydra asks. By fantasy age in this context, do you mean both first and second editions, or do you mean first edition fantasy age? So right now, fantasy age second edition will be a part of the Age Creators Land. That is going to happen. I know, right? James just says, "Welcome to Skynet." Yeah, just a real cranky, just kind of a bitchy Skynet, really, who just sort of lies and does some really weird stuff and gets very depressed. Um, Terry says a supplement about a world generated by an AI, though. Yeah, I mean, sure, and why not? Modern age, I mean, why not do some kind of cyberpunky thing? Why not? Like Malcolm Shepard's Cyber Slice, and yeah, absolutely. So all that stuff is open, and what's interesting too is I think the majority of our time here on ThursdAGE has been really focused on Fantasy Age, and over the course of the next few months, we are Zardoz. Sure, get the license. Get the license and get the suit. Get that little, wow, it's not really a suit so much as it is artfully placed. I don't know if anybody remembers. Was it oh my gosh, who was the guy? Who was the mustache dude? Burt Reynolds. Was it Burt Reynolds? No, no, it was the spy guy. What's his name? Burt Spy. No, his name was he's the British dude, Sean Connery. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so yeah, Sean Connery and Zardoz. So yeah, if you want to remake that Mario, Sean Connery. Yep, I like it. The spy guy. Wasn't he a spy? Wasn't he double O 11s or something? I don't know. But so yeah, back to the subject at hand. There is a world, a wealth of things in line to things that you can create as part of the Age Creators Alliance, and we just want to make sure that we're doing all the things to keep the static from making this creative endeavor, which should be fun and enriching, an albatross and painful and shameful. We want to avoid all that. Um, yeah, he was James Blonde. That's right. Let's see. Temp asks, will there be any supplements, by the way, for Blue Rose? Well, so there is stuff being worked on, and you know what? We'll set up a show. We'll bring Joe back into the ThursdAGE theater to have a sit down talk about sort of what's coming, what to look forward to. There are some things happening, and great things, but just in case you missed it, there are things that are going to be uh, Blue Rose supplements and things will be part of the Age Creators Alliance here very soon, and we are actually just waiting for some final templates to be created, and then we're going to roll it out, which I'm very excited about. So that I know Jones is excited about it, and I'm imagining Temp you would be as well because I know how much you love Blue Rose, and you are like the lorester. You know all of this stuff and ask the best questions. Let's see. Yep, he was James Bond for some time. James Bond. I called him James Blonde because I'm being funny. I bet you're all cracking up. Brian say, "Oh, yep. Okay, so right. So he did it 3 times. He only played James Bond 3 times. They make it sound like he reinvented the world or something." Yeah. So Jonesy says, I'm working on more Tanglewood stuff for Blue Rose. Very nice. I am not as familiar with what that means, having only played one. Um, Stan says, no, Jonesy, no Tanglewood stuff. I'm certain that's not what it is. Um, Sometimes I like to fish around for people's, nerve points, just poke it a little bit, and I might have hit the nerve. So back to the Age Creator Slash stuff. eh, If they're shaken, not stirred, yeah, I like that. Yeah, that's how I do. Hydra says shaken, not stirred, and then in quote says Sean Connery voice. That's kind of just what I do. I'm like, oh, Chewbacca sound because I can't make them or do them. I'm going to stop sharing this for now. And so, given that it is just we may not go for the entire. I mean, I could sit up here and talk forever, but I got to preserve our dignity. Shouldn't leave it in my hand. Let's see. Dominic says no. He left twice, so he had 3 goes. The total number of films was oh. So his character, he took 3. He was in 7 movies. Wow, this is more information than I could have ever hoped to get about Sean Connery, um, whom I mistook for Burt Reynolds in Zardoz. The movie about what was he? Some alien or something? I don't even know. Um, yeah, that's right. Okay, so folks, if you're just dying to get the scoop on this Sean Connery and his role as uh, Frank Blonde, the international super spy, you want to check out the live chat. So, with that being said, any questions from folks who are watching? And in addition, if you got a question, you're listening, and you're like, "Hey, I got a question," write a chat. Write a chat. Write a message. Drop it in the. Drop it under the big video playing with no face, and it's me, your only friend, Disembodied Troy, and as I am your only friend, I implore you, entreat you, I beseech you. I almost said impeach you. I would exactly bondage. Oh no, not that. That's not at all what. No. Name that bond is a better name for that. Yeah. Um, was this a whole trick to get me to say bondage? Is that what this was? um, is there an approval process for the content before we can put it up? Yeah, there is. Well, there is. There are guidelines that you have to meet, but we aren't, necessarily sitting there combing through page by page of all of your stuff. But there is will there be advice on creating monsters and NPCs? And that's the part that I'm really excited about, is to offer opportunities for people who want to create I know. Bondage. Nobody wrote it. It was in my brain. Unless I did somebody write bondage? I was taking a little spin, Stan. Stan said, tune into our new show, Name That Bond. And I was like, oh yeah, we call it bondage. Um, here we go. So no, we will not call it that. I'm waiting for Mom Voice to pop up in the midst of the chat. Are there any plans to allow fiction to be published under the Age Creators Alliance to supplement game content? You know, I don't. It all depends. It depends on what we're defining as sort of. I mean, just like a full book. That's the Age Creators Alliance isn't necessarily built to support that, but it's an interesting discussion, and one that I would encourage you to bring with you when you attend our coming Age Creators Alliance summit. And let me make sure I'm not. Okay, Temp says, with all the Dragon Age illuvians, Blue Rose, Shadowgates, and threefold multiversal travel, I'm surprised the term isekai isn't used at this point. Yes, me too, now that you mentioned it. I'm lying. I'm not sure exactly what that means, but I know it's brilliant because you are, so I'm going to go with it. I agree, friend. Hydrara says, it would be nice to know a little of the design language so the third parties. Yeah, okay. All right. That makes some sense. A book about tips for making monsters would be great. Yeah. I think that there is something that we can do along those lines. And one of the things, I'll just let you in on a little behind the scenes thing that I've been working on, is when you think about developing or playing a tabletop role playing game with your friends around a table, everything that we publish, everything, and that everybody does, begins with that context in mind. It doesn't take into account, or hasn't in any real material way, people watching who are watching a live stream. It doesn't hasn't been a very good space sort of carved out for what role does the audience play when they're watching the play. And there have been attempts to do things like, for instance, if you look at stuff that they're doing over at Twitch, where they have some mechanisms, like you can spend an amount of some mysterious currency that you're forever sort of, I guess, producing as you hang out and watch streams, sort of keeps coming, filling a chest of some sort. And then you can use that to unlock an emoji or uh, do some other kind of weird thing. And to me, that's all very tacked on and actually created in the context for things like video games. And it makes a little more sense in that arena. Uh, so, one of the things that we're working on is we're looking at as an age really lends itself well to streaming mechanics that allow for the audience to get engaged and be involved in some way that isn't distracting to the overall narrative, that isn't sort of derailing what's going on, and also allows for a better immersive experience for people who watch. And so we're working on sort of what that tools really could look like. And nice. Yes. Yes. Johan, I think I named an NPC in one of your games, and I can't remember what the name was. Uh, okay, good. I'm glad that you. We do name. Okay, so John says we do name NPCs and and boons and dooms, which he typoed to say boobs, and which made me laugh because it made me think that sometimes you can get some different suggestions from a bunch of people who are watching. Um, but back to your point, Hydra, the idea of putting together uh, a little bit of a language, a tutorial, a sort of, and that's one of the challenging things as well, is that even from studio to studio, people have different languages to describe different aspects of the biz. The tabletop role play game is just notorious for everybody's got their own way to do it because they invented that way back before paper was invented, and chiseled all their TTRPG content onto a stone slab. And by gum, that's the way we do it, and we'll continue to do that on to the future when we've ascended into the singularity. There are just aspects of the tabletop roleplay space that have not necessarily embraced um, the most modern of technologies and processes, but I do think that we could do a lot and get a lot done and actually faster if we're all talking the same language. And I've asked about. Yeah, yeah. The audience is a stumple. That's actually something that I'm put together. I'm sort of working on that concept for people in chat and also a live audience as well. Because again, like I was saying, tabletop role play games aren't maybe they are getting better, or they're taking into account that new party to the party, which is the audience. But it just isn't very robust, and so being able to really build something that has that age feel and that is modular and pops into all of the different adventure game engine products, then I feel like that'll be something that feels, and many people use the adventure game engine supplements for all kinds of stuff outside of age games, which is great too, because they're great supplements and resources. And I think that something streaming would be um, kind of a bonus, and something that would, I think, do a lot to help support streamers. And I don't know what we do for podcasters. I'm not sure how we could kind of keep people engaged. I think that goes a little farther than we can stretch as far as tabletop role play gaming goes. But Duke says, "Oh, I forgot. Will there be some sort of an SRD or age that could be used as a reference for age creators?" So that's a great question, and I'm going to say that is yes. I mean, that is our hope. Um, if you believe in fairies, click Control F1. If you're listening in your car, honk your horn twice or something. Hydra says some of the monsters and the bestiary D&D people would freak. Yeah. Yeah, and and the other thing as well is that I think that it is a wonderful time for us to be flexing our own design sensibilities and to look at things. I mean, maybe we've been looking at things in a way that is limiting our creativity and our ability to do more innovative stuff for people, including encouraging you to engage in publishing your own self. Become a publisher. It's important. It's fun. And really, there's no other industry like tabletop role play gaming, because the line between the gamer and the developer has always been blurry. And given sort of the advent of, the shift of publishing, sort of getting a print on demand book, like you used to get something print on demand and you would end up with just something really weird would be delivered. But now they're actual books and they look good, and you wouldn't even know that they were print on demand. So it's cheaper, it's faster, it is more, all of those things are well within the reach of the consumer. And consumers who are playing TTRPGs have been training to become the best storytellers I think our culture has ever known, our humanity has ever produced, because storytelling is, of course, it's probably the thing that kept the humans from, walking off the edge of the cliff into the mouth of a saber-toothed tiger. But I mean, and challenge me if you think I'm wrong, but where in the world, how in the world, or is there any place where people are as committed to telling cooperative stories than the TTRPG space? You can talk about movies and things. That's a great spectator sport, or a spectator sort of cultural happening, even plays, but you can feel immersed. Video games, you can feel immersed. They can do all kinds of stuff. They can set up a scent machine and a VR goggle and some kind of plug to kind of keep you all feeling like you are, strolling, on the moon. But that's not the cooperative piece. Like there are no better storytellers than the GMs and the players who ultimately develop, and not everybody, but ultimately develop into GMs, and that creates this really interesting space where people can be very successful publishing their own stuff. And Age Creators Alliance gives you that framework to do it well, and to earn some money, and to learn and grow. And that is the other thing that we're looking forward to. I really want to set up some. I don't want to call them webinars because it just makes my skin crawl, and everybody at Green Ronin will come to my house and punch me in the eye. Just the idea of a webinar. But no, it's sort of opportunities not just to be sort of talked at about how to develop TTRPGs, but to spend an hour with some of our industry luminaries. These are incredibly talented people with just amazing experience, and you get to hear it on ThursdAGE. I think it'd be a lot of fun if we did get together in a digital space or even a physical space at some point in time, and allow for folks to ask questions very focused on the art of developing and design. And I keep threatening Malcolm Shepard to, that he'll be the one, but there's, well, the first one, but Joe, Steve, Ian. The team is jam packed with people, with some real amazing and significant experience developing tabletop role play games for some of the biggest sort of creative worlds there are on this planet, which is really, yeah. Jahan says, "I'd love to listen to that." Yeah, and I know I'm right about it. I really do, and I feel like if there are people who want to come and just kind of get a little insight into that stuff, or people who really want to get into it and start asking some real questions about design intent and how that should drive the narrative, and all the tools and tips and tricks and things that Green Ronin developers have learned because they've done 100 of them, and they've done, and 10 of those were not the best, or they had a struggle, or they overcame something that was really challenging. It's just an incredibly talented group of people that when they're done sort of sharing the information that they know, you can just see that they are replenished. And so why not do that with folks who want to develop around the Age Creators Alliance, and some of the other content programs we have as well. Hey, real quick before I forget, I was going to say, hey, I might shut this down early, but indeed, it is now, as always happens to me, it is 2:54, and that means we have limited time left. But I want to say, I'm excited about what we've got cooking for ThursdAGE. I'm excited about the Age Creators Alliance. I think that it is a time of sort of reconnecting in an even stronger way with folks who are fans of Green Ronin stuff and future fans. And I'm really looking forward to sort of busting that stuff out. But you know what helps is if you make sure that you go like this video wherever you are. If it's on Twitch, you know what I'd like you to do? I'd like you to march around your neighborhood, and I want you to play it on your iPad and just stop by everybody's home on their porch, or just go up to the window and just hold it there so that they see it, and make them give you the thumbs up and then move on to the next home. I think that would be very helpful. Or if you don't want to go that far, you can just, if you're over on our Facebook page, if you are over on the YouTubes, or you're hanging out at Twitch, Twitter. Yeah, I don't know how many of you watch this program on Twitter. I think that's kind of a weird thing. I don't think many people do. But if you're there, retweet and share the information that And when we get your comments, I will tell you that over the course of the last, I would say the last 2 months, everything that we're doing, ThursdAGE and some of the other things that we're offering through the Mutants and Masterminds stuff, like Mutants and Masterminds Monday and the drafting table and a few other things that are cooking, um, our views and our ability to reach people has quadrupled. And I mean, many of you may have seen that we broke 2,000, over 2,000 followers, and we're almost ready to roll into the next phase of being a YouTube content creator. Really, what we're looking forward to is being able to put things like dataless mutants and master panties uh, up on YouTube for you to purchase. So, every comment, thumbs up and share really helps us get there. And, we do this 100%, 100% for you. Otherwise, people will be like, no, Troy, get away from that microphone. Um, Let's see here. I want to check out our chat real quick before we end it. It would be, oh yeah, yeah. Hydrara says it would be a dream, to live off making tea. And Hydrara, if you're able to do it, you should come back and teach us how that's done. Let's see. The Digital ACA Summit. The Digital ACA Summit 2023 sounds like some kind of a sales seminar kind of thing. Great. Jesus says, sign me up. That's great. Skyrim Princess, heck yeah. And Nicole, our Nicole says, love to see everyone being excited. Absolutely. Yeah, let's make a podcast. Say anything. Yes, with our friend James Blonde. Hey, friends, again, thank you for hanging out. If you're watching this on demand, make sure you check out the live chat because it'll have important links and things. And I'll also include an update to the community page of our YouTube. And in the interim, if you've got thoughts, questions, concerns, comments, send us a note to let's play at greenronin.com, and I'll ignore you there instead of here in chat. No, actually, we're thinking of fun ways to sort of change the way ThursdAGE a little bit, change it up a little bit, and offer more opportunities for people creating content and with something to say and share, a little time on the microphone. 'Cause I ain't scared. Thank you, friends. I really appreciate it. Oh, one other thing, Stan does remind me, we're on the TikToks now. It's Green Ronin. Look for us. You'll see us. We are we're making new friends over there. I'm telling you, TikTok is the place to make some new cool friends. And check that link out in chat. Oops. Check that link out in chat that will be here by the time you go to check. It isn't at this moment because I'm flubbing. But yeah, check it out. If you're on TikTok, go follow us. Just do it. Just head on over there. Give us a follow. Right now, we're at 123 followers. That is amazing. And here's what's amazing. I'm following 119 people. I'm bad at this. All right, friends, have a great rest of your week. Make sure you come back to hang out with us Monday for Mutants and Masterminds Monday. We'll be hanging out talking about superhero stuff, as we are often want to do. Thank you, friends. Bye-bye.